Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Jessica and this is Unite Inside. We help people unite with all the parts inside of them. In this video, I will be talking about a very important subject, which is shame and how to release shame. This is very important for people that go through a lot of shame, that feel a lot of shame from their bodies. Sometimes you are somebody that has shame when it comes to your character, shame when it comes to your expression. You're ashamed of yourself. You're ashamed of everything that you do. So how do you release shame? Shame can be a very hard thing to release because of how bad it feels. It is literally shame. It feels like embarrassment. It feels like judgment and like you're about to be ridiculed. It's very painful and hard. It's one of those feelings that people try hard to hide and try hard to, it's like a deep insecurity that can cause you to really feel bad about yourself. A lot of people they lie, they hurt people. You have no idea how far they can go just so that they can hide their shame, okay? Or they can be like, they don't allow themselves to be themselves and they judge themselves and all of that because of how shameful they feel. So why do you have so much shame? It's because when you were a kid, you went through trauma and you had a parent that was super critical of you. What does shame mean? Shame is basically that feeling of, there's something wrong with me. What I'm doing is wrong. I need to change. Is that when someone criticizes you, they're saying that you're wrong, that you have to change, that what you're doing is wrong, that judgment and criticism can be very personal. It can feel very personal when someone criticizes us. That parent that used to criticize you, they actually had the same thing going on and happening to them before. And so you trigger them. You're being yourself, you're expressing who you are, you're laughing, you're running, you're jumping around as a kid, but they feel like you're triggering their shame. When you trigger a parent's shame, they need to shame you. They need to project it. So they project their shame on you by criticizing you. So they criticize you and then you feel shame. You feel ashamed. But really it's just a trauma that's been passed to you. They passed that trauma to you. So how do you heal the trauma of being ashamed of yourself? It's really hard when you have been feeling this shame for all your life. It can really be damaging to your personality, to your character, to your sense of self, because all you feel is embarrassed and you're not proud of yourself. It's almost like you also are scared of judgment. If you want to understand what shame is like putting a big, harsh criticism and judgment on something. Like when you're being yourself, let's say that you were trying to do anything, but your parent kept telling you that you're doing it wrong, that you need to do it this way, and that if you do it that way, people are gonna laugh at you. If you do it that way, then this means that you're stupid. You constantly are being put down. You're never accepted and you're never being allowed to just be yourself and to just exist. Basically, if you have a lot of shame, it's because when you were a kid, you were never allowed to just be yourself. It's always somebody putting you down, telling you that you're stupid, telling you that you have to change, judging you, criticizing you, and hurting you too, disrespecting you, straight up disrespect. Just like disrespecting who you are because they don't feel comfortable seeing you while you're being yourself because it triggers them. It makes them think like, it almost like it exposes how shameful they feel about themselves. So they constantly get triggered. They constantly get triggered and they need to shut you down so that they don't feel how ashamed they are of themselves. Okay, so in this video, I will share with you 2 steps that can help you release the shame from your energy, from your body, from your failed. Okay, so The first step is going to be a very important step. When I was going through my awakening and I started healing myself, I started my healing process, this is how I released shame. I had so much shame about who I am that I couldn't even say some words. I thought they were shameful. And I couldn't even talk or speak up freely because I always felt like it was like somebody's gonna judge me, or I always felt like maybe I'm wrong, maybe because when someone constantly criticizes you as a kid, you are constantly being invalidated. So that's what happened to me. I felt invalidated. When someone constantly invalidates you, you get insecure. That's what happens to you. You get insecure because you're constantly being poked, literally. Like someone is constantly trying to get you to change and to be different. And so you feel like nothing that I do is right. So there's something wrong with me. So when I was trying to release the shame, the first step I did is that I allowed myself to feel the shame. You have to allow yourself to feel the shame if you want to release it. Otherwise, what what shame really says is that you have to hide something. You have to not show it. This is shameful. Don't let people see this insecurity. Don't let people notice how bad I feel about this thing. But if you just get into the habit of expressing your shame, or just at least allowing yourself to feel it. The thing is with us is as soon as we start to feel embarrassed or ashamed, we want to run away from how embarrassed we feel. We want to run away. We want to do whatever it takes to just not feel that shame because of how terrible it feels. I promise you, the way to release shame is to feel it. Why? Because it's no longer shame if you feel it over and over and over. It's no longer shame. It's only shame because you hide it. As soon as you let that be seen, and by yourself at least. Sometimes we can't even let ourselves see our own insecurities. We're so embarrassed of something, we're so ashamed of ourselves that we can't even let ourselves feel that shame. We always shut it down, okay? So what I need you to do is every time you feel shame about something, just allow yourself to feel that shame. Don't hide it, don't run away, don't think of something else, that's why we lie, or that's why we sometimes what happens is that we get into fights with people, or we try to defend ourselves in that position so that we can feel better. It's our ego that feels like, now I need to defend myself against this person because I feel ashamed. Don't do that. Don't fight with nobody. When you feel that shame coming up, feel it. And I promise you, this is the best way to express how you feel. Also, the thing that you're ashamed of, make it a habit to do it, to always do it, okay? When you always do something that you're ashamed of, you're no longer gonna feel ashamed of it because you have made it normal. The opposite of shame is acceptance. The opposite of shame is something being normal, something being okay. But because you have been hiding yourself and your personality for all this time, and you haven't been expressing it, you feel that shame still. But if you have made it okay, because the more you stop yourself from expressing something, the more ashamed you will feel about it. And the more you openly talk about it, the more you're gonna feel normal about it. The more it's gonna feel like it's a normal thing. Okay? So what I mean with this is, I used to be ashamed of myself, so I used to be ashamed of speaking up and talking, but the more I allowed myself to talk, regardless of how I feel, so I would feel the shame, and I would let myself feel the shame while I'm talking, and that really created like a habit of, like an acceptance thing, like I'm accepting myself while I'm talking, okay? So you have to find a way to accept yourself while you're talking, while you're expressing yourself. You have to feel it, okay? You have to accept it. When you do that, you have to accept that you feel shame right now, and you just keep going and you keep allowing yourself to feel more of that shame. The more you can expose how shameful you feel and you can feel that openly, it's gonna feel very bad, but the more you can hold yourself while you do it. I remember a time when I used to be very ashamed of myself and I was healing myself at the same time. I allowed myself to express how shameful I felt while I was holding myself. So it's gonna be like you're holding yourself while you're feeling that shame, okay? Hey, you can support yourself while you feel how shameful you feel. You can give yourself compassion. So let yourself feel it while you give yourself compassion, okay? Also, if you get into the habit of talking about how shameful you feel with other people, this can also help you feel less shameful. Because you're saying that it's okay, to talk about it. If you can just say, hey, if you can just express it to somebody, I feel embarrassed right now. I feel ashamed right now. It's gonna create a habit of, it's okay to talk about how shameful I feel. That means that it doesn't define me. That means I don't have to hide it. That means I don't have to, it's not a big thing. It's just like, oh, I feel embarrassed. It's okay, we all feel embarrassed. You can talk about it. You can say, I feel embarrassed right now. It doesn't mean anything about you. But the thing is, we tend to judge ourselves, and so we make it mean that we are weak, or that we are, we make that, oh, we feel shame, that means nobody will like me, that means this, that means something about myself. It doesn't have to define you that you feel ashamed. We all do. All people in the world, even your favorite celebrities, I promise you they feel shame. It's okay to feel any sort of feeling. Yeah, yes, you can talk about it, you can express it. We all have insecurities. This is a good thing to do. So the second thing you're gonna do, if you wanna learn how to release shame, is I have created the best method that can fucking help you with your shame. So this is something that you can do while you're working, like you're doing your inner work, you're doing your shadow work about this shame that you feel. As I said, the most important thing is to be able to express it and to let it be felt by you. Very important. But then this is another method. So this is what you're gonna do. I told you in this video that shame is like a judgment. It's like a label that you have put on something, okay? You have labeled something that you're ashamed of. You have gave it a label. You have gave it a meaning. Let me give you an example of my own life. I used to be ashamed of my feelings, and I gave them a label. Why was I ashamed of them? There's always a reason why you're ashamed of something. And I gave my feelings the label of being weak. I told myself that my feelings are weak, and this is why they're shameful, and this is why I was ashamed of how weak I would feel if I expressed my feelings, okay? So it is the feeling of weakness. I used to feel very weak whenever I have my feelings. Why? It's because when I was a kid, my mom used to be ashamed of her own feelings. And so whenever I expressed a feeling, she would tell me, why are you, she would invalidate it instantly, which would make me feel, and she would invalidate it in a way that makes me feel like it's weak of me to have that feeling. So it's a judgment, it's a criticism. For someone to tell you that it's weak of you to have a feeling, this is them judging your feelings. So become aware, this is the first thing you're gonna do in this method, is become aware of what is the judgment, what is the label that you have put on the thing that you're ashamed of. Like, for example, if it's your character, if it's your personality, did you say that you're weird? Is this a label? Is it you're weird, that you're weird? Is it that you're, whatever label, okay, whatever label, you will become aware of it when you ask yourself and you're meditating, you can become aware of the label that you have, okay? So once you know what label and judgment you have upon the thing that you're ashamed of, then you can start to change that label by changing your mind, by convincing yourself to change your mind about it, okay? Like, for example, I started telling myself that I started finding a way to accept my feelings, okay? I found a way to accept, to look at them differently. Instead of thinking about them as weak, I started telling myself that no, they're not weak. It's just reinforcing a different belief. I believed that they were weak, and now I reinforced a different belief, which is feelings are normal, feelings are okay. So what you have to do is reinforce a different belief that says different things, that says my personality it's not weird. No, there's nothing weird about it. Why is it weird? What makes it weird? If you ask yourself what makes it weird, like you can go even deeper in your shadow work. When you ask yourself what makes it weird, oh, it's because of this, it's because of that. You can really break all of your negative beliefs that you have in this moment. This is a way to release your shame, because once you know that you're okay, that there's nothing wrong with this thing, once you feel that there's nothing wrong with it, then it's going to be easy for you to feel less ashamed about it. I started feeling less ashamed about my feelings the more I told myself that they're okay. It's a belief that I had to reinforce by every time I feel like my feelings are weak, I can tell myself in that moment that no, it's okay to have them. It's okay to feel my feelings. It's fine to have my feelings and to feel them, and that everybody has feelings, that it's okay. So the second thing you're gonna do in this method is you're gonna have to become aware of your expectation. Did I tell you that shame is having an unrealistic expectation? Okay? It's basically expecting yourself to be this way and not this way. It's like that's why you feel like there's something wrong with you, because you feel like you need to change. You need to be different. You need to be this and you need to be that. Okay? So become aware of what expectation do you have upon yourself. For example, about my experience, when I told you that I used to be ashamed of my feelings, I had an expectation that I shouldn't even feel. I shouldn't even have any feeling because that means I'm weak. And if I do have a feeling, it means I'm weak instantly. So the expectation was to never even feel anything. It's an unrealistic expectation that you have of yourself. When you become aware of how unrealistic this expectation is, it's going to be very easy for you to be like, why am I even believing this? Why am I even thinking this? Why do I believe that I need to have like no feelings, or that I need to be this way? It's going to be very unrealistic, the expectation that you become aware of. You expect if you're ashamed, let's say that you're ashamed of yourself because you're poor. So you expect yourself to be rich. That's the thing. But this is harsh, okay? You were not born rich, okay? And so like you are judging yourself, criticizing yourself, and expecting yourself to be rich. Like, it's just funny, because if you were born poor, it will be hard for you to like, you know, change your beliefs and manifest being rich. And so like, it's really funny that you would expect yourself to be rich when you're poor. So you expect yourself to be rich. Do you think that's realistic? Let's say that you're ashamed of yourself because you're I'm trying to think of like a different example of things that you might be ashamed of. Let's say that you're ashamed of yourself for being short. You expect yourself to be tall? Were you born tall? This is crazy that you would expect yourself to be tall. Like, what? How? Like, it's just an expectation that you can never meet. You were born short, so you just have to get real, okay? You have an unrealistic expectation, and once you accept, you have to reach an acceptance of your situation, okay? Once you reach an acceptance of your situation, it's gonna feel like it's okay to be in it. And then you can tell yourself that it's okay to be in it, and that it's not that bad, okay? And that you can even change your mind to thinking that it is even good to be in that situation. Like, it is even good to be short. Short people are beautiful too. They can be cute, okay? So like, you have to just change your mind and your labels and your judgments upon yourself. This is a work belief. You work with beliefs, okay? You work with beliefs. Okay, this is what you're doing. You're gonna work with your beliefs. I will be making a video about how to work with your beliefs and how to change them. That will definitely help you, because when you're feeling ashamed, you're dealing with a bunch of beliefs and judgments that you have upon yourself that you just have to like release and like, you know, let go of. So, and then you can have new beliefs. You can give yourself new labels that are good. Like, for example, I gave myself a new label. I gave my feelings a new label of being, I told myself my feelings are feminine, they're good, they're beautiful, it makes me a woman, it makes me It makes me one with my flow, okay? So my feelings are beautiful. It's a part of me. It's a beautiful part of me. You can accept your feelings. If you want to release shame, it really is about how to accept yourself. It's about self-acceptance. I will be making a video about self-acceptance. So stay tuned to see that video. Okay, so this video have come to an end. I hope that what I shared with you helped you deal with your shame and release your shame. I love you so much, and if you like this video, feel free to share it with your friends, to leave a comment, and you can give it a like. I love you so much, and I will see you in the next video. Mwah.